Це всі? Jaroslav, hello. You're an early bird. Yeah. What's up? How do you do?
I'm doing very well. Thank you very much. We are finishing Q1. So the financial results of March are, so we made so much money in March that we did in last whole Q1 in 24. So we are growing very fast.
Congratulations. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you for coming in a second time. You are the first one coming back. Yeah, you are a true friend of our meets. So a round of applause for you. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, guys. Thank you for having me again.
Yeah. So
happy to help you guys.
You was our third guest and currently 12. So yeah, your numbers in our history. We had an updates too. First of all, we had this beautiful camera where you can see all of our people.
I can see the people, yeah.
Yeah, we have a couple of new rituals, or maybe I should say traditions. Yeah, and first of them was proposed by Alex Lee, a founder of TrueWind. Before we will ask you questions, we would give one-liner about us, about the person, so you would know who is asking. Yes, and maybe this would be an interesting information for both our ends.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I think that most of our room knows you, but if you can, in 2 or 3 minutes, maybe pitch Autologic for ones that are here for the first time.
Okay, no problem. So my name is Jarek. I'm a co-founder of Autologic. We are building a global eID hub. So we are connecting all the government-issued digital IDs, identity wallets, and bank IDs into a single API. So you know identity wallets because you have DIA. So every country has its own DIA, and every DIA has its own API. So we basically merge them together into a single API. So if you are a multinational company, it's super easy to accept any digital ID all over the world. So we are working with very big companies like eToro, Plus 500, Santander, and many others. And yeah, we raised Series A last year, $8.2 million. We are part of YC, Y Combinator W21. And yeah, we grew 3x. So I'm not sure when was the last time we saw each other, but the 2024 we finished growing three times our revenue, and now the goal is to at least triple the revenue again. And as I mentioned, Q1 is on track to tripling the revenue. So yeah, hopefully I'll be able to tell you more about the big clients that are launching very soon with us. Yeah.
Massive. Yeah. And who will be the first? Okay. What? Sorry. Okay. So the first question will be from me. My name is Daniel, as you know it. So I'm the founder of SaaS Locker, a web agency for SaaS businesses, and a startup called Searchable. We make your business with us. You can be mentioned by LLMs in the search. Yeah. So my question would be maybe about aftermath after Series A. I asked you a couple of things before, after 2 weeks maybe, and currently I wanted to ask you, whilst things are maybe, you know, a bit of operational, or what was the best things that changed in your company, and maybe a couple of insights, which opportunities can be unlocked with a lot of money for a startup?
Okay, very good question. So first of all, let's start with the changes. So when we raised Series A, there was 9 people in the company. So we basically had founders that were doing most of the things. We had some inkling of the sales department. So we had a couple of sales people. We had support and developers. And developers were doing a lot of stuff, including the product analysis, together with the founders. I was doing everything around front-end development, design. So basically very small team, very fast. Right now we are 31 people from 5 different countries. We are growing our office in London, for example. So a lot has changed. The first thing that changed was that we introduced a product department in the company. And now the biggest challenge, I'm not sure which of your startups is at this stage of kind of growing the team, but the biggest challenge with growing number of people is to actually give them expectations on what will change from the responsibilities perspective. Like some people are doing a lot of things at the beginning, and then they need to give away some of the things that they were doing, including the founders, to someone else. And some of the things can be done differently than you would do it yourself, right? So you need to kind of transition from being a person that is building a product to a person that is building a company. So your company becomes your product, and you start to design how people interact within this company, what is your culture, and how do you grow. So it is very challenging, I can say. It requires certain kind of mentality changes. And I think for me right now, it's still ongoing process. So even though it happened like 5-6 months ago, it's still something that is ongoing. It's still not finished, and we are going through the process. What I learned during those 6 months is that you cannot copy other companies, because the typical temptation is that you will start mimicking, like, oh, we want to be like Google, or we want to be like Facebook, and you want to copy how those people, or Airbnb or whatever, and you want to copy the processes and the structure of those companies. The problem is that your people are different, and you have different people with different skills and different characters. You need to figure out for yourself what is the best setup. Either you are working on a specific technology, or what is the risk that you are operating in? Is the technology the risk, or the market is the risk? What is the setup internally? How you should work depends on the people that you have, and this is something that is quite similar to product market fit, I would say. So you need to figure out this for yourself. And the product market fit is for your basically organization is something that you need to achieve. And again, this is something that I'm working on right now. I can tell you that it's not easy. So, and anyone that's doing the same, I wish you good luck.
Great answer. Great answer. I have only one follow-up. This was very close to me. What is the point where when you decided not to stuck with a person and go on? So it's very interesting that you say that you should understand what kind of people do you have. Yeah, but what is the point where you believe that the person is not aligned with your team, and you need to change it?
Okay, yeah, very good question. So, from the people perspective, you have, I assume two kinds of people, right? So the people that are in sales, basically, and or business development, and these people have very clear goals. Like, they need to bring you the customers. One thing that they will do really well is to find excuses why they're not performing well. So you have to be aware of that. The second thing is, if you have good process around onboarding those people, so you really give them the best shot they can, then the next thing you should do is just to make sure that these people perform. If they don't perform, then it's a very clear decision. And typically, you have companies that are for B2B SaaS, you have companies that are onboarding new salespeople. They should start selling between the first 3 months or 7 months. Like if they haven't closed any deals or the pipeline is super small, you probably don't have a right person. And especially if you ask them about the reasons, they give you a lot of reasons why. So that's definitely not the right person. And I will tell you the story about this because we just let go one of the sales people yesterday. So it's fresh in my memory. So yeah, but this is kind of like black and white situation with certain types of employees, right? Especially business development and sales. But there's a second type, which is kind of people that are working on a product or internally in the company, right? So the second type, you have to be aware of, like, if they are, first of all, they need to be an A player person, and you need to understand how to spot the A player people, right? So for my own kind of purpose, I crafted this kind of 3 elements that I look for in the people. So first is agency. So agency means that you can spot the problem and start fixing it without someone else pointing the problem to you and telling you to fix the problem, right? So it means that you proactively kind of understand that there's something to be done and you start doing it without being prompted. So agency is the first thing. The second thing is the craft. So craft is all about, how do you fix that? Because you can let's take an example of the boat. We are on the boat. There's a leak. You need to plug the leak, and you can do it in multiple different ways. You can plug the leak in the way that it'll start leaking in 2 days' time. You can plug the leak in the way that it'll never leak again, right? So this is craft. How you make things. Is this really good and high quality? And the third thing is taste. So taste is the kind of the trickiest part, but you can spot people that have good taste in how they do things. How the things that are produced look like. These are the things that I spot. So if you have a high agency, high craft, high taste person, this is an A player, right? So now the second problem you have is that if you have an A player, they have specific character traits. Everyone is quite different. Like some of the people are introverts, some of the people are not. Some of the people thrive in chaos, right? So they like when everything is falling apart. Some of the people are quite opposite, like they hate it. They need to have a lot of processes around them, etc. So if you have an A player that is interested in certain area, you need to make sure that these people are aligned and specifically kind of placed together so they kind of have similar interfaces and similar likes and dislikes. And kind of you don't put people that thrive in chaos with people that love process together, because they will explode. And even though they both are a player, right? So this is the part where you try to craft, like you as a founder, you try to understand who is who what is the character trait of each person, and try to kind of mitigate the the advantages and disadvantages of the character of each person. And my personal belief is that there is no bad person. If like there is only bad place for the specific person. Like if you're thriving in chaos, great. Let's do QA, like, or you know, the customer support, because every day you will have something different and everything will be exploding around you, right? If you like process, then you should be somewhere else, like you know, like managing backlog, and then you will be thriving in a situation where you can have everything like perfectly aligned and try to make it you know, connected and organized. So you need to understand the character of the people and the kind of the hard skills. And again, if you have A players, you try to spot them as quickly as possible. If these people are not A players, then again, this is not like for not everywhere you need an A player, right? So my favorite story about Steve Jobs is that when he was appointing new VP, so vice president, he was telling this story about the janitor. So the story was, you know, the Steve Jobs comes to the office, the trash bins are not emptied. He goes to the janitor and asks him why my trash bin is not emptied, and the janitor tells him like, oh, you know, the headquarters changed the locks. I don't have a key. Like I couldn't get into your office and empty your trash bin, and you know. So this is the person, like according to my, like, this is low agency person, right? But this is a janitor. It's okay. Like you know, he has a boss. Like someone else will guide him. At some point, you can like you cannot have A players emptying your trash bins. And what I'm saying, right? So closing tickets on QA is not like, you don't have to have the highest agency person doing that. But at some point, like if you have a VP, then excuses don't matter. So that's why I said, like, you know, we had a guy responsible for a certain market, and we let him go because he was low agency. Like he couldn't pull off the things that we wanted him. So you need to understand where the A player can fit, like, because if you start hiring A players for every role in the company, including like, you know, fixing bugs or like, you know, closing tickets in the system, then you will burn them. So you need to understand that you need different people in different places. And again, if you have that, then it's fairly easy to understand who should be let go and who should be relocated to some other task.
Very insightful. Thank you. Who's next?
Hi, Jaroslaw. My name is Dmitro. I do a startup, which is AI widget for grocery e-commerce that automatically fills in the cart with groceries. And you won't see me in the frame because I'm in the corner managing the stream and technology and the other stuff. And while listening, I had two questions, the follow-up ones, and a third one, which is different. So the first two, when you say that you are building the company as a product and you are trying to give out some tasks to other people for everybody to do something, very often companies face that the more people they have, the slower the things become, because you have a lot of approval and you have things stuck in and not everybody agrees and so on. So the first question is, how do you balance between being productive and quick and agile with being organized and more corporate style? And the second question, maybe you answered them differently, maybe it's the same. How do you, when you say that all your plans for this year is to triple your sales and do a lot of stuff and all your plans are ambitious, how do you measure that? How do you know that you are on time and that things move as expected? And how does the team, all the teams know that? Thank you.
Okay. So let's start with the first thing. Like for sure, keeping the team smaller makes you faster. And you know, one of the things that we try to figure out is how to move fast, even though we are growing in terms of number of people. So I don't have an answer here right now. We are trying to figure this out. I'm not sure, like we are trying different things, trying to be as fast as possible. Basically, we believe that speed is one of the biggest advantages of a startup. So we are trying to figure this out. But I don't have, like, if you I think put this as a priority to be fast, then the whole team understands and tries to be fast. But I don't have an answer like a silver bullet, so you can implement and you'll be faster. You have to be balanced between the processes and kind of the spontaneous or the quick decision making. The second question was about how do we measure. So one of the things that is quite interesting is that at YC they tell you to focus on revenue, because if you have revenue, everything else becomes easy or fixable. So especially fundraising. So this is and it's quite easy to measure, right? Every month we issue invoices, and you can just sum those invoices, and you have a number, and that's easiest thing that you can do in terms of measuring the North Star of your company, let's say. But apart from that, one of the things that we do is we have a system that is managing our OKRs. So I'm not sure how familiar you guys are with OKRs and KPIs, so objectives and key results. Okay, so basically the goal is we have like 3 strategic pillars for the company. So we want to be the best product on the market. This is one like strategic pillar, and then attached to this is number of OKRs. So for example, if you want to be the best, what does it mean to be the best, right? So one of the measures is like, we have the largest number of integrations. Okay, so this you can measure, right? So how many integrations and how many we want to have by the end of the year, for example. So it's quite easy to measure that today we have, I don't know, 36. By the end of the year, we want to have 100, right? So then you can measure. The other strategic pillar, and we have multiple of those, so I won't describe every one of them, but just to give you a flavor. The second one is like, we want to be the easiest company to work with. Like the people should love working with us. So how do you measure, love? Very philosophical question. So one of the things that you can measure is, for example, how quickly people after signing the contract, start using us, right? Or so this is one of the things that you can measure, and we have multiple different things in this strategic pillar, and we have multiple different strategic pillars, and we have multiple different OKRs and KPIs. And we try to make sure that every element of the company is actually growing and hitting the targets, let's say. And what changed is, at the beginning, we as founders were responsible for managing those KPIs and filling out the forms. Like, we have a system that basically, it's called Purdue. I can give you you can check it out, and you basically type in the number, and it gives you graphs, whether you're doing well or not. So now it's changed because we have more people, we have managers, so these people are actually helping us, and they are responsible for their own KPIs, and they are giving us information about how quickly we process leads, how many leads we get, from marketing perspective, how quickly the product is growing, and all these things are measured and discussed every week.
Thank you. Can I ask? Yeah. The next one. When you mention A players who have all these 3 qualities: agency, craft, and what was the third style?
Taste.
Okay, taste. How do you define taste and craft? How do you differentiate them? And when you are talking to a person at the interview, how do you identify those qualities?
Okay, good question. So taste and craft you can identify by looking at the previous things that they did, right? So you know, it's hard for me to kind of put the finger on it, but craft is the difference between taste and craft is that craft is something that works well and is fast, and you know, especially if you are doing something right. And from the taste perspective, it's tasteful, so it looks nice. It's not sure how to kind of describe this, but it is tasteful. Like if something's tasteful, you kind of understand that it is, right? And you know, one of the things that I judge is actually CV. So if you send me a CV and this CV is just a list of bullet points and it looks like craft. So the craft is, you know, do you have spelling errors in this or grammar errors, right? You know, what is your actual like, what did you do before? And the taste is, how does it look like? How does it feel like to interact with your CV, for example? So this is where the judging begins. And then if you talk to the person, I don't have a kind of ready-made interview questions for people. I just kind of react, and it depends on the role. By the way, you know, you ask different questions, different people. I try to have those interviews as much as possible, you know, in person, so you can kind of feel the other side. But I don't have kind of ready-made questions that I use every time. So it depends on the position.
Thank you. Next question.
Okay, hello, my name is Valdis. I am lead ML engineer in Ajax Systems. What were the biggest difficulties during your current startup journey? Maybe they were like the point where before was very like you didn't know what will be this startup, and after this point it was like threshold, maybe something begin to work.
Mm-hmm. So definitely we had a moment where we were looking for product market fit, but you know, this is my kind of second startup. So I approached this startup differently from the first one. And one of the things that we knew from the beginning is that the product market fit is super hard. So instead of focusing on the solution and trying to sell this, whatever we have, you know, crafted at the beginning of the journey, we tried to focus on the problems that we wanted to solve. So we knew that the whole kind of identity space is ripe for disruption, as they say in Silicon Valley. So this is like outrageously bad thing going on right now. So people are taking photos of their physical documents, and we knew that this will not last and it needs to change. So we tried to figure out what would be the best solution to this problem, and we focus on talking to the customers. This allowed us to go from open banking solution that we had at the beginning. Like the initial hypothesis was that based on the open banking APIs, we will do something like bank ID, but you know, based on open banking, and this will solve the KYC problem or identity verification problem. Turned out that there was a lot of different, you know, a lot of differences between the countries, how the open banking is implemented. And plus the customers needed more information. So open banking was great, but we needed more things. So that's why we morphed the product from being kind of open banking ID to this aggregation and orchestration system for ID verification issued by the governments and the private companies and others. So, you know, we never had this kind of situation where we are stuck trying to sell something and it didn't work, because from the beginning we approached this like we don't have anything we want to sell. We just have kind of iterations on the thing that we think will solve the specific problem, and we were focusing on this problem to this day. That's the approach. Like we don't. When we talk to the customer, we try to figure out what is the problem, and we try to come up with the solution. And every time there is something new, like the market is changing, AI is coming, you know, the new methods are coming, like the regulations are changing. So we try to morph the product to fulfill and to solve the problem that we think still exists, you know, the best way in the best way we can.
Thanks.
Hi, I'm Vyacheslav, I'm a backend developer, and I have a question about a customer interview and what is your definition of a good customer interview, and maybe you have any tips or insights about it.
Oh yeah, for sure. So it is one thing that they gave me during the YC days. I'll try to give you the link. This is the MUM test. So it's actually available online, and I'm not sure if you guys know about this book. Have you heard of the MUM test?
Yeah.
Okay. So the MUM test is something that was kind of a really big deal for me to kind of understand. So I'm you know sending the link here in the notes. So basically this is like, you know, how to talk to the customers and learn your, you know, if your business is a good idea when everyone is lying to you, right? So that's the challenge with talking to the customer. So you don't. Basically, the first thing is the good customer interview is when you don't try to sell you know, your idea to the customer. You try to ask them a question, and I think you can summarize this into ways. Like the first one is, you know, you kind of understand the area of where you operate. Like what is the problem area you're trying to tackle? So the first thing you need to understand, and you can ask different question, is like how important this problem is to you, right? So let's imagine that you are my customer. I'm trying to sell you the AI, you know, coding tool, right? Like so my question would be, you know, what do you think you're slow or not? Like how do you work today? Like, have you heard of AI coding tools like those co-pilots, add-ons? Like, what is the tools that you use today? Try to understand everything around the problem area, and then the second thing I would try to understand is the first thing is you need to assess whether this is a high priority, hair on fire problem or not, right? And the second thing is you need to understand how do you solve this problem today? So if this is a high priority problem, there is no way you don't do anything about this, right? You need to kind of try to do something about this. So what is the solution that you crafted, and how much time did you spend to fix this problem? So for example, in the times before AI, you probably, like, I will learn that you spend a lot of time on the website called what was the website with the help
Stack
for
Overflow.
programmers? Say again?
Stack Overflow.
Yeah, Stack Overflow. Yeah. So you would tell me, like, at one point I would learn that if you have a problem, you just go to Stack Overflow, you type in the problem or even the whole error message, and you get a lot of responses, right? So this would be like, oh, okay, so this is the substitute of the problem. Like, you have the problem, you have a solution here. Like, so if I'm working on an AI copilot, this should be something that is embedded into your editor, so you don't have to jump to the website. and to understand all the error messages in real time, kind of gives you answer or suggests some code changes, right? So but at no point I would actually show you the the Copilot and ask you about your opinion. This can be done at the end of the interview, like you can show the actual solution you're working on, but only after you learn about, what is the priority of the problem and how do you fix this today? Because if you know those two things, then the presentation of the actual prototype is completely different, because then, first of all, you might finish the interview after learning that this is not a problem. Like, I don't have this problem. You're not the ICP. You're not ideal client profile. I don't need to talk to you. You don't have a problem. I'm interested in problem XYZ. I will go to someone else. Let's imagine you have that problem. So I'm eager to understand how you fix this today. One of the information, if you don't fix this today, like you can live with it, that means that it's not big enough, or the problem is not big enough. It's not a big, but if you do have a substitute, you show me the substitute. I didn't know about this. I will show you the prototype differently, or I'll ask you about what would you think about something that would automatically understand your code and kind of give you the suggestion on the right-hand side. And would this be helpful or not? And this would guide you in the work after the client interview. How to prepare the prototype and what to do next with the product.
Thanks. And I have one more question. Is about how do you started to work with identity verification, or so is this problem like where it resonates with you, so you decided to start, or you face it in the process of your job, or why you choosing this field?
Yeah, so I actually because I was, my previous startup, Bankcard, was acquired by the largest Central European bank, and I was working for the bank, so I saw how they do identity verification processes, and I kind of knew that this is something that is a big problem, and it's completely untouched by anyone. Like the problem is actually caused by the people that are providing solution, which is, the solution was to take a photo of a physical document. So, but what I also knew was that this problem cannot be solved because there is one entity that you have no kind of power over, which is the government, right? Unless the government starts issuing digital identity, you cannot do anything about this. And the thing that changed was when COVID hit, right? So COVID was for me, this was very clear that the governments will start doing something about the remote ID verification, and the market will explode because everyone was kind of locked in place. You cannot go to the branch to do verification. So the COVID was this kind of forcing function on the market, where every remote ID verification company was pretty much exploding because everyone was looking for something like this. So this was the best timing to start working on this kind of product because of this unique situation on the market. So you, of course, have many of those events and problems caused by the market changes. So, for example, today you have AI that causes a lot of market disruption in different areas and causes a lot of problems that you can fix that were not existing before AI, right? So, for example, for us, one of the interesting things is that it's so easy to generate fake IDs right now and deep fakes that the photo of an ID becomes obsolete almost everywhere, right? So this is one of the market disruptions that is actually kind of a tailwind for our company. But there's more. Like you have a situation where we face the people applying to jobs with AI generated texts. Like if you give them the test, they will just ask GPT, ChatGPT, and then they will do just copy paste the answers. So so this is the market where you need to understand whether the text you are seeing is generated by the human or a bot. So this is another area that is interesting, and this is strictly problem generated by the new market disruption, right? So one of the best sources of startup ideas is to actually look at the market today, look at the direction of the market, and try to place yourself 2 years from today and to see how the world looks like and try to see what's missing today that will be needed in 2 years' time, for example, right? So if everyone is using, I've heard recently on one of the podcasts that one of the visions of online dating, for example, is that the AI bot will learn everything about you. There will be a second AI bot, and they will start talking together and figure out whether you are matched or not. If you are not matched, then you'll go to some other bot. And so these are the kind of visions, like what will happen when everyone will have a AI on their phone, so the AI will know everything about them. So how can we use this knowledge and to build some new products or solve problems that today cannot be solved? Because one of the big problems with online dating, as I understand, is that you see fake photos of a person, and you start chatting with this person, and you are basically chatting with an AI bot, right? So these are the things that are like the market is being changed all the time, and it generates new problems, and you need to figure out the solution. So basically what I'm saying is that you have to be aware of the market and technology changes, and then act accordingly.
Thanks.
Hi, my name is Kostya. My question would be maybe about I'm doing business development stuff, and the question would be related to this. Because in our company, we also raising money. We're kind of startup, but it's a startup with over 200 people, so it's more like the corporate thing for now.
Mhm.
And our founders, we have CEO and CTO. CEO, he's going to States, travel around the world, going to conferences, a lot of networking. CTO is like our inner CEO, so he's just managing all the work. And the thing is that I had experience working in small startups, and there I had access to everything which I need, except every materials on fundraising, some pitch decks, and other things. In big companies, that thing that's not so clear to get. For example, you don't have access to all ideas of founders and other people. And for you, for example, for your fundraising and other things may connected to business development in the company, how you build that processes of sale and also working with people who make business development, and how you enrich the information about your intentions, your ideas, your plans, and do you have any objections about it?
I'm not sure I understand the question. So you're suggesting that the knowledge about the corporate development, I would say,
Yeah.
is helpful while doing business development. Is that correct?
I mean that, for example, some C-level guys, they could specifically not talking about very important things, because they think that, for example, it would be, I don't know, something that typical employees are not allowed to hear, are not allowed to talk about, because it's kind of, I don't know, thing which is a secret, for example, for now.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So, I can say that, there are different cultures of different companies. Some are very secretive, and they don't share a lot of information with the employees. Some of them are not. Do you have employee stock option plan in your company?
No.
Okay. Now, I think, one of the things that I suggest is, create an employee stock option plan and make every employee kind of involved in building the company, because they are kind of beneficiary when everything goes right and there is a big exit or liquidity event, right? So, in our company, everyone has an employee stock option plan. And because everyone has this stock option plan, we are kind of sharing information about the strategy, how the fundraising is, what we need to achieve to get to the next stage of, for example, for Series B, right? So I think this is one of the fundamental things that when you implement this in your company, then the employees themselves kind of not only think about the targets as being artificially created by the CEO, but these are the tangible things we need to achieve to get to the next level, right? So to be able to change the world, we and make the impact we want to make, because ultimately when you're creating the company, you're setting up the vision, right? So the vision for us is that today the world is broken because the identity layer on the internet is completely broken. We want to be a company that will change that so the companies has the easiest way to accept digital identity. So you no longer need to send all your data to some random company because it's required by KYC. You can do it digitally. You control who gets what, in granular way. We protect them from identity theft, etc. So the vision is like we wanna change the world by making digital identity super easy to use. And in order to achieve this vision, we need to go step by step, right? So the first step is Series A. We can grow the business. We can attack bigger customers. We can build better product. Now the second vision is the second step is Series B. We'll have even more people. We can work with even bigger companies and even more companies across the world. And so this is priority number one. Everyone understands the vision. And then the second thing is if we achieve, you as a employee will have part in this success. Everyone will be drinking champagne, let's say, at the end of the road. So if you have that, then you share the information that is needed from the goals perspective, right? So the whole company understands what is the goal for this year, what they themselves need to do so we can hit this target. And everyone understands also the benefits of hitting the target, right? So we can get to the next stage, and we will be closer to the champagne. So that's how we set up the company.
Yeah, that especially great works for product startups, because in your example, you really have the quite specific problem, and that problem you could describe very easy, and a lot of people would just follow you.
Yes, exactly. And by very easy, I mean, I was crafting this message for many years. So be careful that it's, so it's easy in retrospect, or it's obvious in retrospect. If you are starting, you try to figure out what you want to do and how you want to communicate, and the simple communication is something that you craft. It's not something that is it's achieved, not kind of you just sit down and just write it.
Yeah, just we have simple communication and a short communication. Just they look alike, but it's not.
Yeah, exactly.
So basically, you are a champagne guy, yeah?
Yeah, I need to cut down on alcohol, but yeah.
Yeah. So do you remember you recommended previous time the book Build?
Yeah.
Yeah. We have a guy in the audience who read it because of your advice.
Okay.
and he will ask a question.
Okay.
Daniel, thank you. Yeah, I already read the book Built by Tony Fadell. Yeah, thank you for your suggestion the last time. And my question about the life balance, because when you start a startup, I'm looking for a new idea of the startup. This will be the second startup. Yeah, how you find the work-life balance, or is it exist or not? Because Tony said that the first time when you found a startup, there is no life balance. You should work hard and spend all the time, and maybe some other areas of your life will not have enough time for developing this. What you can say about it? Yeah.
Okay, very good question. So I have two answers. The first answer is the following. It's Wednesday evening. It's almost 7 p.m. When I finish with you guys, I'm going to Google Campus for a formal dinner, because there is a meeting with Google people, and I'll probably finish at 10 p.m. Right? So this is one answer. The second answer is you have one life, and just that's it. Like so if you devote all your life to work, it better be something that excites you, right? So the reason why I'm doing this is because, I will be bored to death after 2 weeks at the beach. If you place me right now at the Caribbean island with all the drinks and whatever, after 2 weeks I'll be going crazy, because I would need to do something. Like, I would start coding just out of boredom. So or playing with AI tools or whatever, because this is something that is really like, this is how I like to spend my time. It's kind of exciting, but at the same time you have to be aware that if you have a family, you have kids, you need to kind of unwind. And also, the way I trained myself to do other things is that if you do other things than work, you actually get inspiration for work. So if you tend the garden, like I'm doing a garden, right? So this is kind of a lot of the things that you do in the garden are translated to your work. So yeah, I mean, don't waste your time doing something you don't like. That's one advice. And the second thing is, like, you only got one life, so you better do other things than work as well. Like you better diversify a bit. So this is how I roll.
Yeah, thank you. Do you have any day offs?
Yeah, but it's when you are a founder, the problem is that you constantly think about something, right? So it's not like I'm sitting 24 hours a day, by the keyboard and try to do something. A lot of the things that I'm kind of thinking about are the problems. So I'm actually using a Feynman kind of process. So Richard Feynman, physicist, he was part of the Manhattan Project. I'm not sure if you guys know them. A very good book.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah. Okay. So he had this process. So when he had problems, he was kind of, whenever he learned something new, he was applying this new information to the stack of problems he had in his head. Like, he had 3, 4, 5 different problems, and he learned something new. And then he applied, does this help me with the problem number 1? No. Okay. Problem number 2? No. Problem number 3? No. Problem number 4? Yeah. Okay. So this is kind of new information that pushes me forward. So this is my process. So I tend to think about things. And when I learn something new, whatever it is, I try to kind of see if this kind of helps me with one of the problems. And you have all kinds of problems with in your company. Some of them with the employees, some of them with the customers, some of them with the product, some of them are technical in nature, some of them are design in nature. So you can get a lot of inspiration from different things, and some of those inspirations will be applicable to one of those areas. So that's why, you know, if you focus only on working and this one monoculture, let's say, thing that you do, you are missing out on a lot of inspiration that is outside of the things that you normally see. So that's why it's better if you have kind of wider scope.
Gotcha. And last but not least, the question: can you suggest any other books? Yeah, to read.
Yeah. Okay, so let me see.
Yeah, there are a lot.
It depends on the things that you are interested in. So I think that the best book I would suggest as the kind of, let me get this one. This is 0 to
Oh,
1 by Peter
every
Thiel.
one of us have this one. Yeah.
You got this?
Yeah,
You
yeah,
have it?
yeah. We have this. Everyone.
Okay, so this was one of the best books. But I tried to not to like, I have one of the books that is always with me, and I read it every time I'm in the plane. So this is actually the biography of Steve Jobs, and you know, I have it here on my phone. So this is whenever I'm in a plane and I sit down in my seat and I take my iPhone and I start reading whatever random thing that just opened. Like typically it's the last thing I read, you know, in previous flight. Interesting thing about the reading the same book all over again is that every time you read it, you learn something new because you changed. So your perception actually influences how you understand the things that are written. And it can, even though you know this, it can be kind of inspiration for the next chapter. So I would, the process I'm using is like, I don't read a lot of new books, although, you know, at this moment I have this one, you know, waiting to be read, right? So
Al
I'm
Pacino.
trying to branch out from the, you know, only startup books, but the thing is that I try to reread those books that are really valuable. So Build is one of them, you know, 0 to 1 is one of them. Every time you read this, after 12 months of new experiences and the things that you did, you kind of focus on different things and you understand it differently. Like you remember that the thing that you see is kind of like, you know, just a frame, like a small picture, because you don't really understand everything, because of like to fully understand something you need to experience this before, right? So that's why, for example, it's so hard to teach people, because even though you read it in the book, like if you don't have an experience, imagine, you know, teaching someone to play tennis, and this person will read all the books about tennis. Unless they start playing tennis, they don't know about tennis, right? So this is a kind of entrepreneurship is like tennis a bit, or like swimming or whatever, and you can read all about it. And so imagine you are playing tennis like for 3 years, and then you start reading the books again, right? So then you understand what they meant, and that's why I have kind of like the limited number of books that I try to reread, and then I understand completely different things or from completely different perspectives, and it's kind of, you know, new perspective for me. That's valuable.
Yeah, gotcha. Thank you for your valuable answers. Yeah, and yeah, we have one more question, I think.
It's okay, yeah? Yeah, sorry. We've got a timing, so I will pretty mindful for you. Yeah, so what's the biggest difference, speaking from your experience of founding and scaling 2 companies, what's the biggest difference and challenge pre-product market fit and post-product market fit? Like, I don't know, how would you compare those 2 stages, and what was subjectively like more interesting for you?
Okay. So I think I have a very strong opinion about the pre-market product market fit and the post-market product market fit. So, you know, the pre-product market fit, I think, and I'm biased, of course, but I think that the smallest team as possible of people that kind of know how to build products, or at least try to build products. Today, you have super situation, like there is no excuse for you if to not to kind of double in creating something, because you have AI. You can easily go to Bolt and prompt whatever you want, right? It's going to be a prototype. Of course, I wouldn't put it on production, but you can prototype. If you kind of coming up with ideas, you can do it today quite easily. And do it yourself, not be the idea guy that is, you know, giving this to the software house to be developed, right? So pre-product market fit, you need to be a person that is talking to the customers and trying to build a product, and this is the only way, because then you kind of understand. And there is this is the shortest path between the kind of hearing what customers saying and go ideas and prototypes or something that can be used, and you know, people can start using it and see, you know, you can get feedback whether it works or not. So this is kind of a pre-product market fit. So the smallest team possible of builders that are actually talking to customers. Post-product market fit, you need to start scaling the team, and then you switch from building the product to building the company. So this is what I'm kind of learning right now. And this never ends. So the more successful you are, the bigger the company you will build, and the bigger the problems you will have, and they will be completely different. Like the company that has 30 people will have different problems than 50, the 100, 200, etc. So, and it's not getting any easier. I would say the problems from today's perspective, when I see the problems, the kind of problems we had when we like 3 years ago, you know, they seem trivial today, but they weren't trivial at the time, right? So it never gets easier, and yeah. But the biggest difference is like you switch from building the product to building the company. I think that's the biggest challenge.
Thanks. And what is the most, like, what is more interesting for you? Like pre-product market fit, building, ideating with a small team, or scaling and building the company? Like,
that's a very good question. I don't know yet. I mean, I'm not sure. But there is something very romantic that you kind of try to, you know, swim in uncharted waters and try to figure out something very new. But to be honest with you, if you switch kind of perspective and try to build a big company, you feel responsible for the people and their successes. It's also quite rewarding. So I honestly don't know which one's better.
Okay, I will come back to you after 3 years.
Oh, okay, thank
with
you.
this question. Yeah.
Yeah. So our time comes to an end. We respect your time. So we have a second tradition, a group photo besides you. Now I will ask all people in the audience to stand there.